Hey guys, in this video we are going to be going over how to increase and decrease. To do this, I am using this beginner's yarn that I found off of Amazon. It is great because it's easy to see stitches and only one ply, so you do not get caught on the yarn. It is a 3 or 3.5 millimeter hook recommended size, but I moved up to 6.5 so that you can see the stitches easier, and I do suggest that you do the same if you are learning. I also suggest that you watch the video all the way through without working at the same time to understand exactly how it all works, then come back to watch it again to work at the same time. To get started with this, I'm using a row of 6 double crochets. If you need to see how to do this or anything else in this video, there will be links for videos with directions on how to do everything in this video in the description box below. Also in the description box you can find the link to my Etsy, and there you can find the written pattern for all of the patterns on my channel, as well as the link to my website where I sell all sorts of other art, such as jewelry, candles, wax melts, witchy home decor, and more, so please check that out if you'd like. And lastly, if you'd like to keep up with what I am up to outside of videos, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok at the Craft Nut Clay, or my personal socials at Indigo Joe. So again, to get started with this, I am using this row of 6 double crochets, and we are going to go over how to increase. So we are going to turn our work and chain 2 so we can get up to this next row. And I'm going to increase by 1 stitch in every other stitch across this row. So I'm going to put up here in the corner what that would look like when written. And I will do that for every row so that you guys can see what that would look like. And how people write their patterns does vary, so it may look a little differently. Hopefully this will cover that so you will understand. So again, we are going to increase by 1 stitch in every other stitch across this row. So I'm going to start by increasing in this first stitch. We are going to double crochet 2 times into this first stitch. So 1 would be our normal double crochet stitch in that stitch, and then we're going to add a second one for our increasing. So 2 double crochets in the first stitch. And then we're going to work 1 double crochet in the next, because we are only going to increase in every other stitch. And then we're going to work 2 double crochets in the next stitch, or increase in the next stitch. Most of the time, if a pattern says just increase and it does not specify how many to increase by, it is saying to increase by only 1. So we're going to work 2 double crochets into that stitch, then work 1 double crochet into the next, then we are going to work 2 double crochets into the next stitch, and then 1 double crochet into the last stitch, which would mean that we increased by 1 stitch in every other stitch across this row. And you can see this by having 2 in this stitch, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1. And so again, we increased by 3 total, therefore taking us from 6 double crochets to 9 double crochets. On the next row, we will increase a little differently so that you can see how else this can look. So we are going to again turn our work and chain 2. And I'm going to work 1 double crochet in this first stitch just to start off the row. And in this next stitch, I'm going to increase by 2 stitches. So that will be a total of 3 stitches all in this same stitch. So work 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, and then 3. Again, because the first one is the one we would work anyways, and then we increased by 2. So that gives us 3 total in that stitch, or it could be said like 3 double crochets in the next stitch, which is how I like to say it. So we'll work 1 double crochet in the next couple of stitches, and then in this next stitch we're going to work 4 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, that is the way that I like to say it. I think it's a little more clear on what exactly we're supposed to be doing. So 4 double crochets in the next stitch, which is actually increasing by 3. And then we're just going to finish off by working 1 double crochet in the last few stitches. And on this row, we increased by a total of 5 stitches because we have 2 extra stitches in this first one and 3 extra in this second one for an extra 5 stitches in this row, which takes us from 9 to 14 stitches. Of course, that makes this row a little wonky and whatnot. That's just for demonstration purposes. Increasing in more than 1 stitch like this is mostly for origami and stuff like that. Still good to know exactly what they mean by that and how that looks and what that sounds like. So this is the increasing section, and now we're going to decrease. And for the decreasing section, I am using a row of 15 double crochets. And I just wanted to make sure to say that all of these increasing and decreasing techniques are the same no matter what stitch you are using. So to get started with decreasing, we are going to turn our work and chain 2 because we are using double crochets. And we're going to go over how people say decreasing really quick. So decreasing is the exact opposite of increasing, of course. So instead of putting multiple stitches in 1 stitch, we are actually going to bring stitches together into 1 stitch. The different ways that people can say this, again, I am going to put up here in the corner so you can see how that is written. But they will say to decrease just generally. They'll just say to decrease. If they're just saying to decrease, then they're saying to decrease by 1 stitch. So you'll work this first stitch that you are in and bring it together with the next stitch next to it. I will show you how to do that in just 1 second. If they say to decrease by 2 stitches, then they want you to bring these 3 stitches together in 1 stitch because we would be using this first one anyways, and then they want you to decrease by 2 stitches. So take 2 stitches away. And of course, if they say to decrease by any more than that, then it means the same thing. So if they say to decrease by 3, then you don't count the first one and you want to take the next 3 away because you would be using 1 anyways, making that all 1 stitch. The way that I like to say this is by saying bring the next 2 stitches together in 1 double crochet or 1 single crochet, whichever stitch we're using. So that will tell you to bring the next stitch into 1 stitch with the stitch that we are in right now, of course. Bring the next 2 stitches together in 1 double crochet. If I'm wanting to decrease by any more than that, then I will specify exactly how many I want to decrease by. So I will say bring the next 3 stitches together in 1 double crochet. So that would mean bring the next 3 available stitches together in 1 stitch. And again, I will specify however many more than that you are supposed to bring together into 1 stitch. So if I wanted to do 4 stitches into 1 stitch, I would say bring the next 4 stitches together in 1 double crochet, which means you would bring these 4 stitches all together into 1 stitch. For this first row, we are going to just decrease by 1 double crochet when we decrease so that you can see how that is done. And then on the next row, just like increasing, we will decrease by more than 1 stitch to see how that is done as well. So bringing a stitch together, we are going to start a double crochet in this first stitch, bring up a loop, and then we have our 3 loops for our double crochet on our hook. We're going to yarn over and bring it through the first 2 loops, leaving these 2 loops on the hook. How you do this for each stitch does change, and I do have a video on how each stitch is decreased. If you need to see how to do that, I will link that in the video in the description box below and up in the corner as well. So again, we have the last 2 loops on our hook from this first double crochet, and we are going to simply start working a double crochet in the next stitch as well. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. Then we have all of our loops on our hook for this stitch as well. This was still from our last stitch. So we're going to yarn over and go through the first 2, which is the bottom of the double crochet. and we're going to bring all of those together into one double crochet. So that is bringing our 2 first stitches together in one double crochet. I'm not going to go over how to do that again and how to bring double crochets together specifically again in this video. Again, if you need to see how to bring certain stitches together in decreasing, then you can check out the video that I have specifically for that. In the next stitch, we are going to work 1 double crochet, and I'm actually going to work 1 double crochet in the next stitch as well to give us 2 individual double crochets in between our decreasing. And then I'm going to bring the next 2 stitches together as well. So we're going to start a stitch in the first stitch, leaving our last loop on the hook, start a stitch in the next hook, and leave our last loop on the hook, and then bring all of those together. Again, I'm going to work 2 individual double crochets in between this, and then decrease again by 1 by bringing the next 2 stitches together in 1 stitch. So start the stitch in the first one, leaving the last loop on the hook, start a stitch in the second one, leaving the last loop on the hook, bringing those 2 together. Doing that one more time by working 1 individual double crochet in the next 2 stitches. Then I'm going to bring the next 2 together in 1 double crochet by starting a stitch in the first, leaving the last loop, starting a stitch in the second, leaving the last loop, and bringing them all together. Work 1 single double crochet in the last stitch just to finish off the row, and then we can see on this row we decreased by 1 stitch in every 2 stitches, or 3, however you want to look at that. So on this row we decreased by 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches, taking us from 15 to 11, and we can count that across the top by counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And so even though it looks like we still have 15 double crochets in total, we actually only have 11 stitches now when we brought those together. So now to bring multiple stitches together in 1 double crochet, more than just 2, we are going to chain 2 to get up to the next row. I'm going to work 1 double crochet in these first few stitches just to start off this row, and then we're going to start by bringing 3 double crochets together in 1 stitch. So that means I'm going to bring the next 3 stitches available together in 1 stitch, and this is worked the same way no matter how many stitches you are working at this point. So all we're going to do is start a double crochet in all of those stitches, leaving the last loop on the hook of each stitch until you have all 3 started, like so, and then just bring them all together. So it really doesn't matter how many you're bringing together after you know how to bring them together. You just have to start a stitch in each one of those stitches until you have the amount that you're supposed to bring together on your hook. So I'm going to work a couple individual double crochets again, and I'll bring these last 3 together in 1 double crochet again by starting 1 double crochet in each stitch, leaving the last loop of each stitch on your hook until you have them all started, and then bring them all together. So that's all there is to decreasing. And again, we just decreased by another 4 stitches on this row, going from 11 to 7. So we can see that on the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
And that's all there is to it. So I hope that that was helpful and enjoyable for you. If it was, please hit that sub, like, and bell button, and leave me a comment to tell me what you think. I hope that you guys go on to create many more amazing things. And until next time, guys, I'll see ya.